Hey guys,
This is Ruby,
and Nicole.
and you're listening to She's All That. Hi, everyone,
Hey you guys, welcome back.
to She's All That. The other day, Nicole and I were talking about something that both Brody and Ryan brought up in the man panel. And we were a little confused because we feel like I don't know. They said one thing, but I felt like a lot of the time guys' like actions just totally different.
Totally. Yeah, we were talking and we were like, okay, these guys are saying this and we're totally loving it, but I feel like our personal experience is just not aligning there.
Yes.
So Ruby and I actually Ruby was like, why don't we go back, listen to both the man panels, and then let's come back with questions and let's discuss them because we're still a little bit confused. Like, I feel like there were certain things they said that I was like, what? Like, that's
Just
not my
doesn't
personal.
align.
Totally. So Ruby, why don't you tell them what the thing was that
Okay.
originally sparked this whole idea?
Okay. And I think we were both experiencing this, like even just a tad bit. So we were like, they just said this and this is just happening to us. And it's not what they said. But it was the whole idea of that they don't like when girls play hard to get. And I think that when we asked, they thought like we were doing it on purpose or that we were intentionally being hard to get, but that wasn't really the case. It was more like, for example, in my own, I don't know if you want to share yours, but I was talking to this guy and I was pretty bold and I kept on pursuing and I would be the one messaging him first. And I was the one that asked him out actually on a date and stuff. And it was fine. But then I felt like later on after we were like talking for a little bit, I just felt like he wasn't putting in that same amount of effort and he wasn't reciprocating it back. So I was like, I would prefer to be with someone who is going to pursue and is going to put in effort and want to hang out with me and want to talk to me. So I decided to step back. Not that I was like, oh, I'm going to ignore him and I'm going to like just totally ignore him. No, I didn't have that mindset. It was just like, okay, I'm just going to move on, go live my life, go do my thing. And when I started doing that, he started like messaging me and pursuing me. Absolutely confusing because I was like, dude, when I was putting effort, you were doing absolutely nothing. But now that I don't care and I don't want to talk to you anymore, that is when you're actually putting effort in. I don't know. And it was just so confusing. And I just don't think that was right.
Girl, I'm telling you, I'm like aggressively nodding my head because I have had the same exact experiences. Even when I think about all of the breakups, every single time I'm like, boy, bye. Like, I'm moving on. Don't ever talk to me again. That's just the way that I am in breakups. But like every single time, if I was readily available and there and putting in effort, it's like you're not as desirable. And then the moment that you walk away and you're like, boy, bye, they come chasing back and they're like, wait. And it's like, I don't get it. So that to me, that is playing hard to get, right? So
Yeah.
how does this make sense? Like, I just don't understand.
I don't think guys realize that they like that. I really don't. I think that they're like, oh shit, she's like forgotten about me. She doesn't like me anymore. I have to like make sure I exist, make my mark because I did not agree with Brody and Ryan.
I totally agree because I think I've told you about this book, Ruby. It's called Why Men Love Bitches, and it was recommended to me, and it is like life-changing, and it literally talks about this, and it talks about how men like the chase. Whether they admit it or not, I feel like they do. So that, I feel like we need some follow-up on that.
Yeah.
Was there anything else when you re-listened that you thought, oh my goodness, I don't get this, or I have another question about this?
No, I don't have any questions, but I do have comments or like I agreed with some of the things or I disagreed. But I kind of want to like bring this one up. And then if you want to bring one of yours up and you can just
Totally.
Sweet. Obviously, we did not plan as much because we're discussing this, ladies and gentlemen. We do have some boy listeners.
We do. I was going to actually, Ruby, really quick snippet. I was going to say that too. I was like, we always say girls, ladies. And then I'm like, I've had multiple more than multiple guys message me about the
Mhm.
pod listening. So I'm like, we need to be more inclusive. So I'm really sorry, boys out there.
We do appreciate you.
Yes, for sure.
So one thing, it actually could be an idea for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
So when Jose was like, I think he said that his turn on is, or he likes it if a girl acts the same with her friends, just as like on dates and stuff. And I loved that idea. And I've always told you this, Nicole, that I would love to go on like my friends' dates and just see how they act. And I don't know. I wonder their conversations. I wonder if they're still, well, not all of my friends are just like loud and out there, but I just wonder how they act,
You do always say that. Ruby has said that to me like so many times. Like, I kind of want to just go on a date and sit in a booth and look at you guys. And I'm like, what a weirdo. Like, why?
I just think it would be so interesting to see like how all my friends act, and what they bring up and stuff like that. But I think it would be really cool to do that with each other, Nicole, and maybe have like a podcast episode and talk about how it went from an outside perspective.
I actually really love that idea. I think we should do that. We could do like the whole disguise, like all like wear sunglasses and like that'd be so fun.
Well, also if there's COVID, we can have our mask, just like your
true.
church outfit, the hat. No one's gonna know.
So true. I love this idea. We will be putting that into action. Okay. Yes, I do agree with you. I liked how he said that. That was a good point. It's not something I typically think about. Something else that I want to say Jose said, I guess maybe I just don't understand what he was trying to say, or I just don't have experience with it. He was talking about, I don't know if you remember this, Ruby, and our listeners, who knows if you guys remember this, but you also were not there in person, but he talked about girls being too aggressive. And he said like punching, and he punched me in the arm, and play fighting. I don't relate, I guess. Like, I can't relate to that because I love punching people and play fighting with them and wrestling them and jumping on them. That's just, to me, that's normal. Is that not normal? I feel like that's typical. Don't you like go up to somebody and just slap their butt, punch them in the arm? No? Is that not normal? I mean, I do that with everybody. My whole family does that.
Yeah.
We like put each other in a headlock, laugh, jump on each other. No?
I just do the smacking the butt thing, just like for fun, kind of thing. But I've noticed that guys don't really like that. Well, some guys don't. They're just really uncomfortable with that.
Oh, I don't really care. I'm doing it.
No, I think that,
Well,
I think it's because you're playing. Like a while back, we talked about how when you're intoxicated a little bit and you're flirting with guys, you're like full on slapping them and like, I think that you just do it in a playful way. And I think Jose meant it as like full on like.
Oh, but like, I'm sorry, but I guess that's my clarifying question.
That's abuse.
Are you dating people who are punching you? I'm confused. I've never seen such a thing. Obviously that exists, and I'm not trying to downplay like actual abuse, but I mean, I guess that whole commentary was confusing to me. Mm-hmm. Unless people genuinely don't like play fighting, which is totally fine. Whatever, you do you. But I don't know. Couldn't relate. I was a little bit thrown off by that. I guess I didn't understand.
Well, kind of similar when Kyle brought up, because I think that was like a turn off or it intimidates.
I think it was a turn off. It was something that, yeah.
Kyle brought up that what intimidates him is someone who's like too independent. And I don't know. What do you think about that, Nicole? Do you have any opinion? I have like a.
Yeah. So my mom always says that to me. She always has said that. She's always been like, Nicole, you're so independent. You have your own stuff. You're confident in who you are. And she's like, that's really intimidating. And I always was like, oh, Mom, I'm your daughter. Of course you think I'm amazing and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I really fully believed her. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn and, or anything like that. But I guess I didn't realize maybe that's more common or more prevalent than, I don't know. I guess I didn't realize it was that prevalent, but that was really nice to hear.
No, yeah, I know. And I think that it's hard because we get used to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't see ourselves in other people's eyes, or what they see or what they notice about us. But yeah, and
Totally.
I kind of even thought I kind of related to it. I mean, I think about like certain guys that have really been like hung up on or have just actually have liked, and I have been intimidated because not that I didn't bring anything to the table or wasn't good enough. I just think that wow, like that person can definitely drop me and find someone,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's so intimidating because they do have their shit together and they're living their life. And
No, I'm sorry, 100%.
yeah,
Honestly, this happened to me with you know who, and
yeah.
literally, you guys, I'm not gonna lie, like I really, well, you guys know this if you listen. I don't really like dating that much or going on dates, and I normally am like, ugh, like dragging my feet. But when I went on this first date, I was so intimidated. Like, I was really quiet, and anybody that knows me knows that I don't shut up, so that's saying something. And but I was intimidated because I was like, this guy could get anyone he wanted. He's
Mhm.
good looking, he's successful, he's smart, he's funny, he's kind. He has everything going for him. And it's not that I don't, it's just still intimidating. So I totally get that.
And it's not that we're insecure or just questioning, or it's just, yeah, they can
It's
drop
just,
you. And because, yeah, they can find someone else. And it is really intimidating. I could totally relate with what Kyle was saying in
yeah,
that comment. And I'm like,
totally.
wow, I did relate to Kyle on that
Oh,
certain
totally. Me too.
aspect.
Yeah. Something that surprised me from the recent man panel was how strong they were in their convictions about the one. They firmly believed in the one. They were so, I don't know, that surprises me.
Same, because I don't know, when I think of guys, I'll just say it before I mention what I say. After these two man panels, I feel like guys do think similar to girls. I really do. Or not everything, but there are aspects that are similar. And I just think this one really surprised me because I felt like that's like more like a hopeless romantic thing. And you don't really see that side of guys, and so for them to say that, I was like, wow. And I wonder if they mean like, yeah, they're going to end up with someone eventually, and that person's going to be the one, because that's what I believe. Or if they actually believe that there's one person in this whole entire world that's just perfect for them. Does that
I
make sense?
kind of, yes, I get exactly what you're saying. And I get what you were trying to explain on the man panel. At least for Brody, I feel like he thinks there is one person. This is your ideal, perfect person. I don't know if it's just because he's so in love. Maybe he's, oh my gosh, this girl's perfect for me. And who knows, maybe there is such thing as the one, but I just like feel like
Yeah.
it's a little bit naive of me to believe that. There's just so many people in this world that I could be happy with. But I agree with you though. I think though God knows who I'm going to marry and he's going to be perfect for me. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's going to be, I mean, you could be in a marriage and it would work with quite a few people. I don't think there's just one
Right.
person. But I do, to our listeners, if you are married and you would like to message us on
Oh,
Instagram and your opinion, it'd be really interesting because, I mean, you're actually in a marriage and we're single, so we don't really, I've never experienced being in love and knowing the one. So I kind of would want to
I
know.
actually love that you just said that. If you're married, can you please message us and let us know your opinion on
Your
this? Like
opinion, yes.
it would be really cool and we could actually post those on our story and just kind of like see, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Sweet. One thing I found funny, Jose, I don't know if we should be bringing up their names, but when he said, if the girl offers to pay,
Oh,
um,
yes.
I will always act like I'm going to pay on the first date, but I know I'm not going to pay. Well, I just expect not to be paying. I just want to be nice, and pay. But I will, after that, though, like if it's our second date, I will pay for our
Right.
drinks, or it will always be like, I will never expect a guy to be paying for everything. It's always going to be half or fairness, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I will always, I just like remember myself on dates like, oh, okay, I can grab my purse, and I'm taking my purse and acting, but I never actually will on a first date.
Right.
And if I do, I'll probably not. There probably won't be a second date.
Absolutely not. If I have to pay on the first date, I'm not going on a second.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That sounds ridiculous, but to me, no.
We're
If I'm
also
not even,
we're also very traditional listeners. Our lovely
yeah, if you
listeners.
can't tell.
Also
Well,
keep that in mind. You can't
I
judge.
just think of like if you're taking me to coffee, am I not even worth a $5 coffee? You know what I mean? I just find that odd. I would buy you a $40 dinner if you really wanted one. You know, but also one of my biggest pet peeves is like penny pinching. So I think that's where that comes from. Anyways,
But I love that you said that. I'm worth the $5 coffee.
well, I mean,
yes, babe.
I'm all that. No. So yes, I agree with that. And you know, I need to be better about like reaching for the purse, even though I know they're going to be like, no, no, no. I just feel so awkward. It's such an awkward situation when that starts. Oh, I don't know. I always feel awkward.
It's kind of like, oh, are you sure? You know, are you sure you're going to pay? Yeah, I'm going to pay. Okay, okay, great.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to, but
it's the same dialogue each time, and it's just like awkward to me. Whatever.
Is there anything else that kind of surprised you? You're questioning?
Well, I have another funny thing that I said that I realized, oh my gosh, that was probably really dumb. So when we were asking about waiting like a long time before you, or not a long time, I don't know, whatever. The listener asked if I want to wait a while before we sleep together. And I asked that question, and then what is his name again? Brody and Ryan?
Ryan.
Okay, Ryan said it's not a good fit then, blah, blah, blah. That's totally fine. I respect it. And then I gave him a scenario, right? And I was like, well, what if you're dating for 3 months and then da-da-da-da? And then after the question, I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, I am probably the slowest moving person ever in the entire world that's ever existed in relationships. And so 3 months to most people that's probably normal, you know what I mean? But for me, I was like, what if you dated for 3 months? And then after I asked it, I was like, that was probably a really stupid question, because I'm probably one of the few people after 3 months that would only let you hold my hand and kiss me. I'm like, excuse me.
It's not even near.
No, like I typically take a very long time to like warm up and feel comfortable. I don't even want someone coming in my apartment after like a while.
Holding hands, that takes a while. I am not.
Oh yeah.
I've had guys like bring up, you know, that sunset guy that we went on like 4 dates, like on like the 4th day he tried to hold my hand and I didn't even realize it. I mean, I've been single for 4 years. I haven't held a guy's hand in 4 years, you know, it's not natural for me. But he like brought up at the end where he was like, I tried to hold your hand multiple times today. I'm like, oh, really? I was like, okay. I didn't even realize that, but I don't feel comfortable. I don't know. The whole PDA thing though, I don't like. I will never be kissing my boyfriend in public or anything like that.
I am 100% on the same page as you. PDA, not my friend. I don't know why actually my whole family's like that. Everybody in my family's like that. And so I just, not my thing. So yeah, anyways, I realized after I asked that, I was like, that was probably a really stupid question, because I'm speaking from personal experience and I know that I'm not probably the average person in that regard.
Well, the whole sex before marriage thing, I totally agreed with Ryan. I think if one person wants to wait and the other person does not have that desire, I don't think it's a good match. Yeah, I just think it should be, I mean, waiting until marriage, that's a big deal. It's a commitment. I think it should be mutual and it should be like both of your guys' desires to be doing that. But I don't know. I mean, I've seen couples that, you know, people have given up sex and waited for their partner. But I guess like what Brody said, if that person is the one and you love that person, you're going to be able to do that.
Oh, totally. But, well, because also, I guess I'm not married and I feel like I speak on these things and I feel stupid after because I'm like, I'm not even married. But I just think if that's the case, if you're wanting to wait and you're asking someone to wait for you, let's say a year or two, if they can't sacrifice that for you, just 1 year, 2 years, and just sacrifice, I don't really know that they would be a good husband then if they can't even sacrifice. You know what I mean? Imagine the amount of sacrifices and compromises you're going to have to make in marriage, and they can't even do it for, I don't know. I just feel like that's a little bit, I don't know.
No, I agree. Also, though, it depends when you have this conversation, because if you have this conversation like 2-3 months into the relationship, you're going to have feelings and you're probably going to like this person a lot. And you're probably going to be willing to wait because you realize that this person is is for you, and you see potential. But if you have this conversation like
on a first day,
or a couple weeks in, I mean, come on, let's be realistic. They don't know anything about you.
Right.
I don't believe in love at first sight. So I don't think it's going to be realistic for you to say, oh, I will wait for you. If in your past and every person, all the girls or guys you talk to, you do sleep with them eventually.
Yeah. No, that's so true. I agree with you.
When you have this conversation.
It totally does. I think that's where I was trying to go with that question. I think that's what I was trying to get at. Would your feelings for the person outweigh your desire? You know what I mean? Like, would you be willing to? That's where I was trying to go with it.
Yeah.
I loved how they talked a lot. I feel like both man panels brought up being authentic and being yourself, which is like my biggest motto in life. So I don't know. I feel like they had good just life advice in there too, not just like regarding men, but I really liked that.
Me too. I think it was really encouraging. I thought it was so funny when we were laughing while Brody was saying this, but a turn off for him was the whole, like, he was just straight up and he went deep, and I couldn't help but laugh. So I hope people didn't think we were being rude when we were laughing, but he was like, it's a no with drugs. No drugs or no alcohol. And I was just expecting something more like, oh, if she like cusses a lot or like, something more just, he went all in and I was like, okay.
I know.
Drugs, got it.
I know. I literally was the same way. I was like, whoa, okay. Like, I don't think that was something that I think this is probably really naive of me, but I just like assume people don't do drugs, which is really dumb because a lot of people do, but it's never been my thing. And so I just assume, and if I'm going on a date with someone, I just am like, oh, they don't do drugs. I highly doubt it, And so I don't even think to ask, but that's probably should be something that you talk about.
I think so too, but also I just feel like we don't go after guys who do drugs and do all these things. I feel like you can just, I guess not all the time, you can't always tell. With weed, it's a bit more normal to be doing, but I feel like we don't go after druggies, so that's why we never ask.
I would hope not. Oh my gosh. Well, considering I meet the majority of people that I consider going on dates with at church, I highly doubt I am dating drug dealers and stuff. But you never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the ones you least expect. No, I don't really know. I don't have much experience with that. I just made that up.
Oh my goodness. Was there anything else that caught your eye, or you have any questions? Or
I mean, honestly, I think just talking to them made me feel less like guys are less complicated than we make them out to be.
Yeah.
They're what you said kind of earlier. They're not like these mysterious creatures. They're just normal guys that are nice and normal. And yeah,
they stalk girls on Instagram. Some of them overthink. They experience similar things when we break up, like all of it kind of thing.
Yeah, we're really not that different in a lot of ways.
No.
Yeah, I also just love their willingness to come on the man panels. Like,
I know.
I literally love how they're just so honest and just, it's so sweet of them.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of courage. We've kind of learned too that podcasting is hard and you have to be interesting. And I'm really thankful our 4 boys so far have been interesting.
I agree. I totally agree.
So the boys who are listening, if you would like to be on the next man panel,
or if you ever
a few questions.
Yeah, we have so many. Or if you ever we might have some random guests here and there for particular episodes. So if you ever want to, be on and give a guy's perspective, just send us a DM on Insta and
slide into our DMs.
Yes, just slide on in.
Can it be an acceptable time to do that?
Yes. Any other time, not accept. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. Just slide on in. We'll get you on the pod. It'll be super fun. And if you're super into video games and you have your own microphone, that's even better because we've come to learn that's what the boys did last time. Really worked out. That's the only time I approve of video games.
Yeah.
All
Oh
right.
my. Okay,
Well,
well, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. And some of you girls, if you were confused with some of the comments or anything, we were
yeah,
also.
actually,
So,
yes. I hope that you guys could relate to some of them, here and there. But did you have I kind of wanted to pull up our podcast page and read like a review. So I have one
ooh.
here. It says, love the podcast. Ruby and Nicole are funny, down to earth, easy to listen to, and they have great advice. Definitely feels like you're just hanging out with your friends for a short 20 to 30 minutes.
Hmm.
I love
Love.
that.
Was that on
That's
Apple,
just
a review?
on, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So give us a rating and a review and follow us on Instagram at She's All That Pod. And we will see you next week. All right.
Have a wonderful week, ladies and gentlemen.
And gentlemen, bye.
Besos.